Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hey everybody, it's Tom Foster in the World of Marketing, and I have on the show today a very special guest, my new friend, Susan Berkley. Yes. Susan, thank you very much for joining us on the World of Marketing.
Hey Tom, it's so nice to be here. My great pleasure.
Now, you all might be like, well, that voice sounds so familiar to me. And it would be because you're the voice of AT&T among many other great things.
I'm the signature voice of Citibank. I used to do AT&T for years, but now I'm the voice that says, thank you for calling Citibank. Your account balance is $7,000,035 because you're a friend of Tom Foster.
Wow, man, that was great.
Yeah.
But so you do voices.
I do voiceover, but I am a persuasive speaking expert. So I not only do voiceovers, but I work with professionals, helping them to be more persuasive, to be more comfortable and more confident in their speaking.
And you got a couple of books here.
I do.
How to Make Big. This is the one that I've got that I started reading, How to Make Big Money with Your Speaking Voice.
Yeah, that's for so one arm of our business is we train people who want to get into voiceover. We have thousands of students there. And then I also have this book, which is called Speak to Influence. It's on Amazon. So if voiceover is not your thing, this is a general
So
book
what
about
is that one? That's more general, just to...
Yeah, it's for folks, for
speak
business speakers,
better.
for professionals who want to improve their speaking voice.
Because it's true that speaking is like the hardest thing that people do, right? It's communicate. That's one of the hardest things that we have to do.
Well, a lot of people are uncomfortable doing it. A lot of people are blabbermouths, but others are silent. And the point is that in our speaking, it's not about us, Tom, and you know this. It's about the other person. So that's the big secret about overcoming speech fright and a lack of confidence, is making it more about the other person instead of us.
Right. Instead of like talking about ourselves and trying to come up with stuff, making it more about engaging with the other people.
Yeah.
So you're a voice coach.
Yeah. So when I work with people, I teach them my 4 vocal influence types. So I'm not going to be there with you saying, ah, ba, ba, box, bar. I'm not going to teach you that. I think my intention and where my clients find it most helpful is the tweaks that I can give them. I start from the fact that nothing is broken in your speaking. But how can you optimize something you're already doing to even make your voice like a secret weapon that you use? So there are tweaks that we can do to the voice. Because I'm a voice talent, Tom, how this whole thing started was years ago, I did a commercial for a little hair gizmo called Topsy Tail. It ran on direct response TV. It was everywhere. It sounded like this: if you're getting bored with your hair, don't despair. Now there's an exciting new look with Topsy Tail. That one made tens of millions of dollars in the 80s, and it was my voice. I didn't get residuals. It didn't make me rich, unfortunately, but it did cause me to think, wow, I spoke for 60 seconds and I sold millions of dollars. How the heck did I do that? So I went back and I deconstructed, and I realized that we professional voice talent, we do there are like really 4 vocal influence types. There's a voice I call the trust type, a voice I call the charm type, the enthusiasm voice type, and the authority voice type. And when I teach these to my professional clients, they're like, wow. So they're really what I'm doing anyway. If I add these tweaks, it's like a little hinge that can swing some really big doors. Because I would imagine, especially this thing about trust, right? We have a lot of attorneys watching us and listening, don't we, Tom?
Yeah.
A lot of law firms. And even
guys.
Yeah, and even support people. So some of the law firms I work with have they're disability law firms, for example. They're investing millions in getting people to call.
Right.
But they're noticing that, yeah, okay, the partner is one thing, and they might be great on the phone, or or they have one intention, and then they sick them on their their support staff, and it's all over the books. So I get in there and I tighten everything up. I make sure that what everybody's saying is in a way, and they're in a way that's coherent with the image that the partner has for the firm, which is, you want, obviously, in that arm of law, actually any arm of law, it's all about trust. You want to make sure, because as I'm sure you more than well know, Tom, you know how long it takes to make a first impression? It's microsecond.
Right. It's immediate.
Immediate. So, and people get that from the tone of the voice that greets us. I mean, can't you just tell from the way the person on the phone says hello, or even a loved one? You can read volumes about how they're doing. So we want to make sure that all of our personal communication is coherent, consistent with the image we want to spend. And these tweaks that I've developed and discovered are ways that you can take what you're already doing well and enhance it.
Right. Just by improving the communication, just by improving what people are saying, right?
Not the
and how
what,
they're saying
it's
it.
the what, which is, of course, that's important, but it's also the how.
Right.
So some of my clients are big financial advisors, for example, and even financial gurus when they're on YouTube, and they're which is where so many people are selling these days. They're offering their services, and a person comes there. They have so many other choices of others in your area. And so there's pieces, you might have a very long sales presentation that you're doing on YouTube. It's informational, it's interesting to people. But there are points in that presentation you want to sound more trustworthy. Other points you want to sound more authoritative. Other points you want to sound more charming, more enthusiastic. So we break all that down, and I help people know how to use their voice and shape their voice so it has maximum impact to create that emotional reaction to people.
Well, I can't help. I'm just sitting here listening to you. You got a great voice. Well,
Thanks.
obviously, you know that, and it's been, now people are either born with a great voice or not, but it's really not, it's in the eyes of the beholder, or the ears of the beholder, I should say, like the kind of voice that someone is looking for. And there's so many opportunities for speaking. And so I know that you help coach, like what you were saying, law firms and stuff, to speak better to their clientele. But I'd like to talk a little bit about just getting in the business of doing voiceovers, if you don't mind. I mean, because
please,
that's kind
sure.
of like that's really how you got involved. I mean, you worked with Howard Stern. I mean, you got some history, girl.
I do.
So tell us a little bit about that. I want to know about that
Sure.
time.
So I started in radio. I was on the air for 15 years, and I see all your guitars. I mean, I love music. I'm a musician. I sing. I play a little piano. But I've always worked in music radio for years and years and years, rock radio and jazz radio, some of the great stations. And at the end of my radio career, I was on the air with Howard. This is in the 1980s, right before he went national. I did his traffic, actually. And I became his, like, a kind of a cast member on the show for a couple of years. And while that was a ton of fun, I mean, he is a great guy off the air, and not to mention a brilliant marketer, a brilliant business person. But as a radio person, believe it or not, it's a kid's business. You make so little money, a lot of fame, a lot of glory, and no green. So I always wanted to have my own business. I always wanted to do voiceover. I knew that would be something that I could do, where I could be independent, I could make more money. And so I got into that, but I had no clue what I was doing. So the interesting story is, Tom, have you ever heard of a guy named Jay Abraham?
Of course, he's a good friend of mine.
So Jay is like he's a marketing guru. He works with Damon John of Shark Tank and on and all of on and on and on. He's a fabulous guy. He's still a good friend of mine. At that time, I said, okay, this is not working. I can't, my dreams of getting into voiceover are not working. I need to learn marketing. So I had one credit card, Tom, that wasn't tapped out. And you know what I did? I bought a ticket to a Jay Abraham workshop, which back then was $5,000. He's now millions to work with, right? And I went and I learned all about direct response marketing. And I went back to my little tiny business under my loft bed in New York City, and I started applying everything I learned from Jay. And all of a sudden, my business grew. I became the voice of AT&T. I started coaching people at the same time. And now all of a sudden, I had a seminar business because I was using the principles of direct response marketing. And so that was like over 30 years ago. I've done, and then I landed Citibank as a customer. We have Google as one of our customers, Cigna, and I have a production company, and we record in all languages for clients around the world. That's one division. We train voice talent is another, and we work with professional speakers as a third
so
division.
Cool. That's such a neat business. I mean, like, it's so diverse. You have so many different things going on. That's so neat. Congratulations.
Thank you. But,
well
you
done.
know, we call it, it's the great voice company, how the world hears you. Because I think that really applies to everyone. So whether you want to do voiceover work, whether you are a business communicator, whether you have,
Can people come to you to find voices?
Yes. So that's one thing that we do as well.
Cool.
And our specialty is voices in all languages and dialects. So if somebody wants something, anything, and we have vetted voice talent that we work with over the years in just about any language or dialect you would want, including English, of course.
So tell me one of the craziest gigs you've ever done with.
Oh, where do I start? You know, it's one of my favorites. I'm so glad you asked that question. So I was the voice of the irritable bowel hotline.
That's great.
So this was a drug trial, okay? For those poor sufferers of that horrible disease. I don't want to make light of it, right? It's certainly not pleasant. So they were in this drug trial. They're taking this medication, and they had to record how it was helping them. So they had to call a phone line and record how the drug they were doing on this drug. Well, guess whose voice was giving them the prompts? Mine. So the script was like this. For fluffy like a cloud, press 1. For smooth like a snake, press 2. For hard like walnuts, press 3. I'm not kidding. This went on. I couldn't stop laughing.
Wow, you
Tom.
sounded really good.
The qualities of their stool, these poor people, right? And I could not stop laughing. So I finally get through the whole script. Next day, client has a copy change. I have to read the whole thing over again. For fluffy like a cloud, press 1. For smooth like a snake, press 2. And I'm like thinking, dead puppies, dead puppies, dead puppies. Don't laugh.
No kidding, man. That is great.
That was one of the crazy ones.
So what can somebody expect? What's the pay range for, how does that work?
In voiceover. So listen.
Because everybody thinks it's actors, right? And there is a lot of actors that do it, but.
Yeah, there are a lot of actors that do it. And that's a big myth that people think, I'll never break into voiceover because James Earl Jones or, Morgan Freeman or, Angelina Jolie does all the work. And look, of course they work a lot, but people have no idea that there are 14 niche markets. And let's pick just one of them. For example, e-learning, which is teaching anybody to do anything. It is one of the fastest, hottest growing markets right now, obviously, and especially with the pandemic. That's a $250 billion niche. Morgan Freeman is not doing all those voiceovers. So,
right. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying is like that, even that funny example that you just gave. I mean, I'm sure that was a good contract, right? For that company.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to know how much people make. I'm sitting in a beautiful condo on the Hudson River right now, right? From my voiceover money, but I'm the voice of Citibank and I was the voice of AT&T for years. The way we make our money in this business is really repeat business. It's
Sure.
rare these days to get, although possible, to get like a giant contract. Like in the old days, you're the voice of Coke, for generations. It doesn't really happen. It's repeat business. So we train, thousands of people. Are all of them millionaires? No. I mean, it's voiceover starts. It depends on what you do. So
Yeah, but
some
it's a
jobs.
great thing for people to get into. I mean,
You know what it is? Our customers are retirees. Believe it or not, they're not actors. They're people all over America on what I call the runway to retirement. And they're looking for a side gig, a side hustle
sure.
that's dignified, that they can do from home, which all our work is done
Well,
in
you
the
can
home
do it
space.
from anywhere, right? I mean, like
Anywhere. So in
you and
good
I were in
years,
Connecticut recently. You were telling me that you were doing stuff up in your hotel room.
yeah, I
So
mean, I have a
totally
mic with
mobile.
me anywhere I go, and I spend in better times, not during the pandemic, but I usually spend 6 weeks a year in Brazil. I have a lot of friends there, and I have
Nice.
like a second home in São Paulo, and so I go there, and I just bring my laptop and my mic, and it doesn't matter where I am. So that's very appealing to people. The cost of the equipment now is very reasonable. It's about $500 to get started. And people are doing. All my students are doing audiobooks, which is a very hot niche. It's an over $2.5 billion of audiobooks was recorded last year. That's about 60,000 audiobooks, and it's growing 25% a year. So that's why a lot of people want to do it, and there's tons of opportunity.
Okay, so how does somebody that has no experience doing it but has a good voice, maybe I'm talking about somebody that were that might be in the room that
Maybe their
might want
name
to
starts
break
with a
it.
T.
Right. So how would somebody get a gig? Like how would they go about
Yeah.
doing it?
So okay. So and we this is what we do. We do. So we the path to get in starts with a voice consultation with our. Actually, the path to get in. You should read my book, Voiceover Secrets Exposed.
Oh,
It is.
another book. See,
That's the one you
all these
have in your
resources.
hand. That's the one
This
you
one.
have. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How
This
to
one.
make big money with your speaking voice. Voiceover Secrets Exposed.
There you
So
go.
this book, I need to get. You're going to need to contact me, and I'll get you a copy because we sell it through Facebook and YouTube. I think it's on our website too at greatvoice.com. But we can get you a copy if you get in touch. And that book, I'm very sincere and honest about what it takes to get started. It's like we sell for $8. That's the start. But then after that, it's a talk with our talent advisors. So what we do is we give you scripts, you read them for him. He's going to be very honest with you about what your potential is and where your strengths are, where you need to work. And then we have courses. So we have trainings we
So
do.
cool.
We're running one now on how to get into Fiverr, do voiceovers on Fiverr, where a lot of people get their start. We do demos. I have, for people that are really serious, I have private clients I work with and help them come up with customized marketing plans, all of that stuff. So
That's great.
that
So
makes
you
sense.
help people break into the business and get
do.
rocking and rolling.
We do, and it's working.
So one of the big questions we like to ask here in the world of marketing, Susan, you're a marketer. You've been doing it for a long time,
Yes,
very
sir.
successfully, obviously. Great job on your books and all of your success. But what was one of your biggest mistakes that you ever made in marketing? Like you're nodding your head. You got one loaded up
What a
and ready
great
to go.
question. And I have made many, like all of us have, who are in business. We make a mistake every day and we
Yeah.
learn from them. That's all. That's entrepreneurship, isn't it, Tom? I've avoided bankruptcy, thank God.
Yeah.
But
Good
I
job.
have, I'll tell you, a couple of times I broke the prime directive, which is if you build it, they will come. And that always ends badly. So once I thought that, it'll be great to have an e-learning program that could teach people how to improve your voice. And I invested a ton of money. I hired a top level instructional designer. I filmed for like 2 days. I mean, it's a great course. Do you know how many we sold? Two. Two, because I didn't study the market and I didn't understand what my niche would be, who my who would be. I didn't understand how to sell e-learning programs into the marketplace to corporate learning libraries. And I just fell in love with my product. That's a huge, huge mistake people could make. So that was one of them. The other was when I did this book, my book, Speak to Influence, I also thought, okay, let me turn this one into a training program. And again, I hired an instructional designer, and I was going to go out and train the trainers and do that. I invested, I think, probably about $50,000, Tom. How many I sold? One.
Oh, ouch. But I know what you mean. Like, that's when we get outside of our expertise. We go a little too far out.
We go too far out. I mean, the great marketer, Dan Kennedy, who's a guru to many of us. I'm sure you know who he is. Yeah. He has a lot of phrases that I studied with him for years, and I love the guy. One of his phrases, which is my favorite, the who is more important than the what. Yep. So the prime directive is, don't you dare launch anything till you are crystal clear in who your who is. And you got to know, to quote Dan, what keeps them up at night, indigestion, boiling up their esophagus. That's a quote from him, you know. And then you write your sales letter. You got to get under their skin and understand really what their problems are. So those were painful
focusing
lessons.
on your niche properly, and you've got to service it. You've got to service it.
And not only that, you can't know enough about where they're in pain.
Right.
And we understand that about our people that want to get into voiceover, and we understand that about public speakers. We understand that, and when I say public speakers, you know, companies that are trying to enhance their spoken image and individuals.
Right. I appreciate the diversity of what you do. I mean, like, not only do you help people that want to be a big voice, you know, like I was joking around, but maybe not. Like, if I wanted to become like the next voice of Coca-Cola or whatever, or even just have my voice on something, you could help me do that.
Absolutely.
But you're also helping law firms and other businesses on how they communicate with their clients and people that call in.
Yeah, but what I'm not doing, Tom, I don't have a yoga studio. I don't have a flower shop. I'm not selling surfboards. So everything we do relates back to our core competency, which is we are masters of the spoken image, whether it's the individual, whether it's your company.
Masters of the spoken image. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I never said it like that before.
I know, that's good. I like that. Masters of the spoken image.
Yeah. And it's not that we are so much as that's what we help people become. I don't care about my spoken image. I know how to do that. I care about yours. And I want to make sure, right. And it's not, and Tom, I want to stress this, please, folks. This is not about sounding like James Earl Jones or being perfect. You are unique. It's your unique voice. Every voice is like a snowflake. It's different. And we want that. It's the great symphony of life, right? I don't want to make you sound like me or like anybody else. I want you to be an enhanced version of yourself. An enhanced version of yourself, so that you're not stepping on your words, so that there is an instrument in you that you've never learned to play. And what we do is we help you optimize that in all the different ways. And we do it for your people too, so that they're feeling more comfortable and your whole business, your whole organization is humming. And if you're the business owner, if you're the partner, when you're listening to your people, you're not going, oh my God, don't say it like, oh, you're not calling your company and going, oh, that's what my clients tell me. They bring me in.
You know what? You're giving me an idea. I might have to send my brother to you. My brother. Of course, he's going to hear this. But yeah, he does sales for the company. And I think that anybody involved in the intake or selling or the answering the phones could benefit from a consultation with you to find out how could I make this sound better, because it's always about that. You could be sounding abrupt and you don't even know it. You could be turning people off.
You're bringing up something very important here. most people don't have any clue how they are perceived.
Right.
Not just physically, but especially, and look at the environment we're in. When was the last time almost nobody's doing in-person sales calls anymore?
Right.
Everything, if it's not over Zoom, and probably not even on the phone anymore, we're all on Zoom.
It's all Zoom.
So how can we optimize, when we're visual like this, our pitch, our tone, our inflection is 38% of the message, Tom, maybe even more. And there are whole swaths of younger salespeople that just want to do email. So they don't want to have contact with anybody.
Right.
I don't know if you've talked to any younger people lately. They're terrified. Especially now, they have
They text everything.
confidence.
Everything's over the phone. Everything's
Texts or email. God forbid they have to be face to face with somebody. They have no confidence anymore, and they don't get this in school. And now they're not even in school. So it's a crisis in a way for American business, I think, and certainly for these young people that are not developing the way that they should, because they don't have the confidence anymore. So that's why I do what I do. That's why
It's good that you do it, because people need it. So I recommend anybody that has intake, and we all do, that are looking to improve something that's you could already be working, but you want to improve it, or it's not working at all. Give Susan a call. She can help you out. Can help in so many varieties of ways with so many different kinds of businesses, Susan. So
thank you, Tom. And that's what we do.
Great to meet you, and great to get to know you better.
Yeah, you too. And we're in the same marketing group. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you some more when we get together again. But can I just give people my contact information?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
How can they get this?
So
this
our
book and
website is greatvoice.com. Greatvoice.com. And if you want to reach me personally, I'm going to give my personal email, okay, Tom?
Yeah, okay.
Because I trust your people. Nobody's going to abuse it. Maybe I shouldn't.
They're all lawyers. They're trusty lot.
Okay. You want to write to me? It's voicepro@greatvoice.com. That's my private email. And I will get back to you and we can talk, on a complimentary basis. I need to understand your situation. Everybody's situation is different. And I'm not sure, maybe I can't help you. If not, I can refer you to someone who can. But it's voicepro@greatvoice.com. And our phone number, we're in New Jersey. It's 201-541-8595. And I'll send you I have another book, Tom, which you don't have there. It's called The Confidence Code. It's a short book. And I'm happy to send it for free to anyone who reaches out and mentions this podcast. So you email me at voicepro@greatvoice.com or give us a call. We'll get that to you.
Fantastic. Well, Susan, thank you so much for joining us today on the World of Marketing.
Yes.
It's been a delight talking to you.
Likewise.
And I look forward to hearing more of your success. And I will see you on the next Titans call.
You got it. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Take care. Bye now.